to the It's a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, September 4, 2023, and this is episode 101, I guess. How do you say it? In Dutch we say 101. 101. I don't know. You know. I know you know. Okay, I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I love talking about my knitting and crochet so much that I make episodes twice a week, and I make them in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay, let's go! Before I start, I really want to give you a huge thank you for all the lovely comments and messages and whatever, all the lovely words I received on my latest episode, number 100. And that was heartwarming and heart jumping. I thought I can never feel down again, because when I feel a bit down, the only thing I have to do is read your lovely words. It was so sweet. It is so special to me that so many people all over the world are enjoying my talking about my handwerk perikelen, about my crafty adventures. I hardly can't imagine how that's true. It's very special to me. So I had so much fun reading all your lovely words. So thank you a lot. And we will go further with episode 101. I'm quite sure I learned this at school, but I don't know. It's not important. Okay, I have something to share with you today, some different things. Of course, I had a lovely day last Saturday. There was a crafting event. I will tell you all about, and I had also quite some issues. No, not issues, that sounds negative. Issues sounds negative. There were negative and positive issues with my sock cardigan, a test knit I'm doing for a Dutch knitter. So I have enough to talk about today, as always. So let's start with my Saturday. No, let's start with what I'm wearing. I'm sorry. What I'm wearing is the Rumours vest. It was my favorite pattern from last summer. It is a crochet top by Claudine from the Iron Lamp. It's a top-down crochet top. I made 4 or 5? 4, I guess. I made 4 last summer, and I tell you all about this top a few episodes ago. 2 weeks ago, I guess. This one is nice because before it became my top, it was a granny stripe blanket, and I had to frock the blanket before, and then I had to crochet the top. It was not so easy, but it was both the granny stitch. I had a big yarn ball. I think it was more than one skein. It was 180 gram. Roundabout. I don't know exactly, but it was, I think there were 2 100 gram skeins. I knotted them together and I wound it to a big ball, and it was in my stash forever. I think it was a Langyarns yarn, a gift. I also think it's a discontinued yarn by now. I'm quite sure it was called Langyarns Milton. And I kept it for the color combination. It is a mix of cotton and acrylic, and I am not an acrylic lover, so I decluttered all my acrylic. I used to work with acrylic. I started with acrylic, but then I get into the world of wool, and I was hooked. I was completely in love with the wool and the natural fibers and the nice warmth, the layer, the specialty of good non-superwash wool, and I never want to wear acrylic. I am wearing acrylic. That sounds crazy, but I am, and it's nice. It feels quite nice. I casted on a granny stripe blanket a few months ago because I really needed granny stripes in my life, and I crocheted. I don't have a baby in my life yet. Not at the moment. I have to say, I have 3 babies of my own. They're teenagers now. I have enough babies. Have had enough babies, but it was not for a special one. It was just a baby blanket because I didn't have so much yarn. So I crocheted and it was very nice and lovely. And at some point my yarn was, how do you say it? It's always hard to say. I ran out of yarn. The skein was gone. It was all in the blanket. So I added some other solid colors, cotton, and I didn't like the result. There was no color combination. There was no stripe combination. It was just attaching a new yarn ball and crocheted all away, and then attached a new yarn ball. And I thought it was a good exercise for me, but at the end it was not making me happy. And my scrappy projects, that's different because I also don't do a lot of color coordination, but then it becomes one big completed balanced thing. But it was not with this blanket, so my heart wasn't jumping anymore. And I am very good in frogging not hard jumping projects. Why should I keep not hard jumping projects? And sometimes I need to think about it a little bit. Sometimes it takes a little bit time to realize if this is that it's not something is not hard jumping anymore. But when I make that decision, it's absolutely okay. I never feel sorry about the time I spent or the yarn I spent. I reuse the yarn. I never throw away yarn. But it's just sometimes things can change. So why should you? Why would you? Why would you bring all those projects with you while they aren't hard jumping anymore? I mean, declutter them, frog them, and make something else. So it for me, when I have too many projects in my project bags, on my needles, they are feeling like energy leaks. Is leaks the good word in English? In Dutch we say lek. That your energy flows away because there is something, and it also take a little bit of your energy, but you are actually not working on it, and you will not struggle. Oh, the words. Okay. My perfectionist visited me, I guess. I see what's on my shoulder, so go away. But projects which are not hard jumping cost way too much of my energy. I think that is what I want to say. Keep it short. Okay, so the granny stripe blanket became a crochet top, and I'm very happy because I really love the color combination. Several people told me there's blue in it. I don't see the blue. I can imagine that they think there is a little bit of blue there, but I only see gray and brown and green. No blue. There's nothing wrong with blue, but I don't like it. But I really love the color and the fit. It's perfect. So yeah, I think this was the last one I didn't wear in the podcast yet. So Rumours Fest by the Iron Lamp. Summer is almost over, although it is quite a hot week in the Netherlands. It will be quite a hot week. This day is the first hot day with temperatures around about 30 degrees. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but trust me, it is warm. We don't live in a warm country. So 30 degrees is... I can't function the way I want to when it's very hot. I'm a hot-tempered person myself. I don't need the sunlight to give me energy. There's a lot of fire in me, and that's absolutely okay. But when the sun is burning, it's too much. So I have to calm down, and then it's okay. But I don't like it, and especially not in September, because I was looking forward so much to autumn, and I want to put my warm woolly winter knits out of my closet. They are stored in a plastic bag, and I want them back in my closet. And I want to wear them, and I want rain, and of course I do love the sun, and I do love the sunshine, but not so hot. But the good news is in September, the mornings and the evenings are much cooler because the sun is later up and it goes earlier down. So I think it will be okay, but I will take it easy this week and knit. That's what I always do, but especially when it's warm. Okay. Last Saturday was the knitting event where I was invited to. Last year was the first edition and this time the second edition. They started quite small. It was an outdoor market. I think I can say it that way the best. In a little town, a little village, a little bit above Amsterdam. It's called Wormerveer. I never was in Wormerveer before. Yeah, last year, but I never come there. I live in the south of the Netherlands. We don't have a big country, but when you are living in a small country, it seems big, the distance. Of course, I visit Amsterdam every now and then. It's a few years ago. It's quite a busy city, so I don't really enjoy busy cities, but this is a very lovely, nice village, and the market is organized by the lady from the yarn shop. The yarn shop is called Kwassi. It's not only a yarn shop, it's a creative shop. You can also buy all the tools for drawing and painting, I guess. And the street is next to the river. The river is called the Zaan. It's a Dutch river. And you have the kade. I don't know the English word for that. The kade, the one side of the street is next to the river, and there are laying boats from travelers, tourists by boat, I guess. And they organize in the bocht, in the curve of the river, they organize this event. And it was a little bit bigger than last year. They want to grow slowly. And I was invited again, and it was so lovely because they created a very nice corner for me with a lovely couch. There was a lovely lady with, she has an atelier. Is that an English word? I think no, it's a French word, but do you use it in English too? An atelier, a place, a creative place, a creative workplace. And she borrowed her sofa. It was a typical old sofa, a couch, but this was really a sofa. And it was really nice. And there was a little table and some chairs. And there was also a lovely lamp. No, not a lamp. A lamp is a baby sheep. That was not on my table. That would be lovely. A light with, how do you say it? She made this beautiful, in Dutch we call it een lampenkap, beautiful thing around the light from silk and beautiful fabric, and she all made it by hand, and it was lovely. So I had the most coziest corner, and people could join me with their knitting, and it was especially the place to connect and to rest a bit and to chat and to just knit and crochet a bit. The place to learn new knitters or to meet old knitting friends or to meet new knitting friends, and it was very, very lovely. And that's also exactly what happened. All day it was busy and people were coming and were staying all day or just for a few minutes or an hour, and we were knitting and chatting and especially connecting. And I really love the connecting part. It's because the online knitting community and crochet community is quite big, and also in the Netherlands it's growing, and I don't have many people around me who are knitting or crocheting. A few, but not many of much. Whatever. And it's really nice that there's also an online possibility, and to meet some people from the online community in real life is extra special because the connection, share the same love, when we are talking about knitting, when you share the same love and we are talking about love, it's not so it's not so satisfying, I guess, when you want to share the same man or the same woman or whatever. But when you share the same love for crafting, for knitting or crochet, then it's very heartwarming to meet each other. So that was what happened, and it was very special. It was a lovely day. It was very cold. I thought it would be summer weather, so I put on my new summer version of the cardigan, and luckily I put my warmer version of the cardigan and a shawl in the car just before I go, because it was very misty, and I thought, oh, when the sun comes, it will be warm. But the sun only came, I think, around 4 o'clock or something. So it was quite cold. It was good weather for a knitting event, because everybody wants to knit a warm shawl or sweater or whatever, and everybody could show their knitting. But it was quite cold. It was very nice. It was very lovely, and I had a wonderful day. I was only 30 minutes there, and my arms were filled with gifts. It was amazing, and again, I told about it before, I feel quite overwhelmed and also kind of embarrassed by receiving so much lovely things. But I try to accept it and just love to receive and feel comfortable by it. But it's quite challenging, because it's overwhelming, all the love and gifts. It's not necessary. I don't need anything. Although, this lovely project bag, I really needed this in my life. It's made by Rachelle. She's a Dutch project bag maker, also a Dutch knitter and crocheter. And she gifted me 2 other project bags, before. And they were both lovely. And a few weeks ago I saw on her Instagram this one, and I thought, oh no, my name is on it. This is brown, my favorite color, vintage fabric. I love vintage fabric, flowers and all the look, and a big project bag. I only own one big project bag, also made by her, and it's really lovely. But maybe I should give some context. At the beginning of this year, I decided I wouldn't buy anything new, and I wouldn't buy yarn, I wouldn't buy new clothes, because it's always I have enough of everything. I have enough yarn, I have enough clothes, I don't need anything. And of course it's nice when you are collecting things, but it's important that it's balanced, and it was not in balance anymore, because it felt overwhelmed. I never touched the beautiful yarns I bought myself or were gifted. I just was collecting new, and it felt not good anymore. Enough is enough. It was my plan to not buy yarn, not buy patterns. I failed. I thought when it's in this time of the year, I would have knitted and crochet a lot from stash, and I also would have saved a lot of money. Both isn't true. I collected yarn, not money. I have a nice goal to collect money at the moment, because we really want to save money for a camper. I don't know. We have an old caravan. That's what we call it in Dutch. I think you say that's a mobile home, a little house on wheels. You can't drive with it. You hang it at your car, and then you can drive. And we are very happy with that little house on wheels, but it's so old that it's not really nice to go to travel to other countries. And I don't really have to, but my husband, he really likes hiking in the mountains and whatever. And now we are looking for a camper van, a little van, in which we can travel a little bit further or easier. But we can't find them for free. No, of course not. They are quite expensive. So it's a nice goal to save some money for, especially because I already have enough stuff. I feel good motivation for saving money. But the hard part is that all the things I see, I can't buy. So that was also the reason why I didn't checked all the lovely, beautiful sellers on the event. Of course, I had my own place, and if I really wanted, there were other people who wants to look for of my stuff. But I always think it's very uncomfortable when you are looking to other people's beautiful stuff and you really want to buy, but you made an appointment that you don't want to buy, and for me it's easier to don't look at all. So that's what I did. But this project bag, I saw this on Instagram a few weeks ago and I really thought, oh, that's my project bag, but I don't need it, so I won't buy it, I won't look at it anymore. And somebody else bought it and I was very happy for the other person. But Rachelle messaged me and she said, I have it for you and I want to give it to you. And I said, no. She said yes. And she explained that this is not only giving, but also a kind of collaboration. So yes, I'm a weak person, so I accepted it. Okay, so a lovely project bag. In this, here are some typical sweets from The Hague. I have a Dutch knitting friend who's also making knitting podcasts in Dutch. And she has an online knitting campus for beginner knitters. And she used to have a web shop and always sent these little sweets with the orders. And my kids loved it. And now she gave me a lot of Haagse hopjes, that's what they called. I also received a lovely, it's empty, I'm sorry, not sorry, a lovely chocolate bar from New Zealand. One of my Dutch knitting friends is living in New Zealand and she was here and it was really lovely. It is not all gone, it's downstairs, but I didn't want the chocolate in my project bag. I mean, I love brown, but not in my project bag. Not from chocolate. I love chocolate in my mouth, not in my project bag. And then we had a lovely Dutch dyer. Her name is Françoise from BadCattoo Yarn. And she gave me this lovely skein. It's a zebra skein with zebra stripes and she dyed a brown one. And she thought I would like it. And I do, with all the brown and the yellows. It is sock yarn. Merino sock yarn, 80% merino, 20% nylon, and it's really lovely, beautiful. I love it. I think I will knit socks of it. Yes, I'm quite sure. And also this was gifted to me by a Dutch knitter. Her name is Monique, and she made a Niddy. She saw me in my episode winding my mini skeins, and she her son makes these little things. I did know they exist, but I never thought about buying one. But this was a gift from her to me, and you can make mini skeins. I didn't try yet. I have to practice. I'm not such a talent that I can do those things in one time. I always need some practice time with everything, I guess. So I'm not quite sure. No, this is not how it works. I'm not quite sure. I think so. Oh my gosh. No. She showed me and it's quite easy. But for me, nothing is easy the first time. Doesn't matter what it is. But it's really nice to have this in your, with your knitting, with your... close to you when you are sitting on the couch, and you can make a lovely mini skein. She also added a brown skein, two lovely colors, and yeah, it was very nice. So I think that was, oh no, it was not all. I also received some tea from a lovely knitting friend, and this is so special. Next to my corner, next to my couch, there was a lovely lady. Her name is Michelle from the Home Profit Knitter, also a Dutch knitter, and she had a knitting machine. And it was, I knew knitting machines exist, a sock knitting machine. And it was so cool because this sock knitting machine was from 1900, I guess, 1900. And it was so special. And see, I filmed a bit. Of course, I did less filming than I planned. So I will put it at the end or in between. I don't know yet, but I filmed her winding, and is it turning? No, winding. So winding, and then there was a sock tube. You can also knit socks with heels, but it asks a little bit more concentration and focusing. So she only knitted tubes today. On Saturday, and she said you can knit the toes, heels and cuffs by hand. And she said, I can make a sock tube for you if you want to. But I said, I don't have a skein. I only had received this one, but I really want to hand knit it myself because I think it's exciting to see how it knits up. But I did brought my crochet blanket with some leftovers. And I had quite a big leftover sock yarn, so I gave it to her and she wound a big sock tube for me in no time. It goes so quick, and it's really really lovely. It was not my plan to knit socks from this skein because I want to add it in my scrappy blanket, but it's really nice and it's really steady. These are 72 stitches. I always knit my hand knit socks for myself 56 stitches, but it's really tighter and steadier. Do you say it for fabric? It's a stronger fabric than hand knitted socks, so it's really lovely. So that was such a nice gift. So I will I think maybe I can make several socks. I will add some contrasting toes and heels and cuffs, and no, it's just 2 socks. It was not a full skein, 2 socks. Yeah, with long cuffs. I love it. So that was very nice. A lot of gifts, a lot of heart jumping gifts, and they remind me mainly to a lovely day filled with connection and lovely people, and that's the most important. So. Okay, that was not the only thing I received. I received some special mail last week. My daughter found it in a mailbox and she said, you have post from New York. And I thought, New York? I never received post from the USA, only from one person. And that was the same person again. I received a lovely envelope. I won't show the other side because there are our addresses. A lovely envelope from Jonna, from Knit Together with Kim and Jonna. And I don't know, Jonna, why I deserve all your kindness and love and goodness. But it was very exciting because I could feel that there was something in it. And she didn't let me know that she was sending me something. So it was a big surprise, a very nice surprise. And it was really lovely. And I filmed a bit. It was exactly what I needed. But I filmed a bit for you. Are we there yet? Yeah, we are there. Let's take a look to my to the opening of the envelope. Of course I opened the envelope immediately when I received it, so it's no surprise for me what's in it now, but there was a lovely letter from Jonna, a handwritten letter. Oh, that's so personal and lovely. And there was also this purple, or maybe you say lilac, plastic cord. And Jonna explained to me that it was not a real one, it was a cheaper version of the knitting barber cord. She found in an online shop and she was very happy with it, and you can use it to put your stitches on hold, or you can put it on your needle tips when you want to try on your knitting work, for example, and your cable is not long enough. And I know the knitting barber cord. I never owned one myself. I never tried one myself. But a few years ago, I received some Norwegian plastic cords from a Dutch viewer from my podcast. That didn't really work out for me. They didn't stay good at my needle tips. So I don't use them anymore. And I normally put my needles, I connect my cables. I use my cables for my knitting needles, and you have cable connectors. But this one came at a good moment because I'm knitting my sock cardigan, the little cardigan I am test knitting for on a 2.25mm needles, and those needle points have a smaller cable, and I don't own a lot of those small cables, so I can't connect them, and my cable is too short to fit. So it was a very good timing, this purple cord, and yeah, that was really nice. I just cut off some centimeters. Jonna told me what she always did. I didn't have my measurement tape, measure tape with me, so I just measured with my knitting needles. Here is my sock cardigan. The sock cardigan is the first pattern of a Dutch knitter, Eve. And I'm test knitting it for her, and I struggle every now and then. It's a bottom-up raglan colorwork pattern, and I have not much experience with the raglan and the bottom-up, and it's a lot of thinking of the colorwork pattern and to have it nice, and it works out, but I have to go back every now and then. I think I'm back on track right now. I attached my sleeves, but I really want to try it on because I make a size smaller than I planned because it seems so wide, but I can't try it on. Of course I tried and it didn't work out, but I can't try it on this cable. So I will use this cord, and so I can check if my if the fit is right. It will be a cardigan, so it will be sticked, but it's I'm a little bit afraid that it is too small. I don't think it is too small. It doesn't look like that, but I really want to be sure. I discovered that I'm in the middle of a round and my needle points are at my back, so that's not very nice for trying it on. So before I put the cord on my knitting needles, I knit to the front. I am a continental knitter, so I have my yarn in my left hand, but when I knit color work, I use two hands. I know you can knit your colorwork continental with 2 strands of yarn at the left, and I did try, but it didn't felt natural to me. I don't mind knitting colorwork with 2 hands. It is not as quick as it could be, I guess, but I don't mind. I don't want it to be as quick as possible. I want to enjoy the process. And when I have 1 strand in my left hand and 1 strand in my right hand, I feel very balanced, and yeah, it feels so good and natural, so I really like that. So I didn't practice continental stranded knitting a lot. I just tried once and thought, no, there's nothing for me. When you knit colorwork, you have the main color in your right and the contrast color in your left hand. And mainly with my right hand, I throw. But when I have more than 3 stitches to knit with my right hand, then I do some flicking. It goes natural, I guess. It's not, but when I knit 1 stitch or 2 with my right hand, I prefer throwing. But when there are more than 3 stitches, I prefer the flicking. But the flicking, it goes faster, but it asks a little bit more of my hand. It only works when there are more stitches to knit with that color, and that is not the case in this row. So here you see me throwing. Yeah. All the stitch markers in the pattern, they are not really easy because you have to travel them from the one needle to another, but they really help me with knitting the colorwork chart. I told in an episode before that I was really struggling with this colorwork chart, that it didn't feel intuitive, and that's the part I like so much. I love so much from colorwork, and it was not the case. But when I divided my stitch markers in a different way, not in even parts, but in parts from 9 stitches and 15 stitches, it all changed, and now it is intuitive and relaxing, and I enjoy it so much more. And it was, for me, it was it was really special to see that such a little change can make so much difference. It's really inspiring. So I finished my round, so it's time to attach the cord, and yeah, I really am afraid that it will not stay at this place, so I tug a bit on it. Do you say it like that? But it seems quite steady and strong, so that's nice. That is always my problem, that the cord doesn't stay at the knitting needle tip but just at the point that it's the most important thing, that it will won't go loose. No, yeah, that's not how you say it in English. In Dutch we call it los. That it will stay. That is very important, because you don't want to lose your stitches. That's why I'm not very enthusiastic about the cords I owned before, because that happened all the time. I must say that traveling the stitches from the knitting needle to the cord, but it didn't go very easy at all. Maybe because this is a fingering weight yarn, a sock yarn, knitted on 2.25mm needles, so the stitches are quite tiny. So the difference between the stitches and the cord is not big. I can imagine that when you are knitting with a DK or worsted weight, that it will go much more easier than on my knitting work, because now I had to travel the stitches almost one by one from one to another, and yeah, that is not when I would use a knitting needle cable, it won't go much easier. But I don't own them, so don't complain, Sarah. But here you can see what I mean. So my crochet top has to make place for my first fitting session. No, not my first. I tried it before, but that was a disaster. Normally when I try on my knitting work, when it isn't easy, I ask my husband or one of my children for help. But they don't want to help me anymore, because I always get very annoyed when it doesn't work out, and it is always a bit tricky. So they say, no, you do it your own. I absolutely understand them. I'm not a very patient person, I'm afraid. And you can see it here. I'm trying to fit in, but I am not a patient person. So of course I didn't travel the stitches. No, not there. I'm putting my arm in the wrong hole. Oh. And at this point I always feel so much frustration, because you are trying to fit in something you can't fit in, and you are getting warm and all the yarn ends, and you think and you also have to be very careful, because then otherwise your stitches will fly off the needles, and it's always a very interesting moment. I think I'm quite a hot-tempered person and this asks a lot of me. Yeah, and it didn't work out, because I couldn't put it on my body the way I want it to be. Of course, the knitting work is not on a point that you can fit in it at all, but of course, Sarah, try. It's not an option, it's not an option. So before I will fit in it, I have to put my more stitches on the purple cord. And as you can see, I'm not as patient as I was at the beginning. I'm in a hurry now. I want to try it on right now. And I will regret my impatience within a few minutes. You will see that. Yes, there we go.
Hey.
This is what always happens to me. It's completely my own fault. I know. But I'm not patient anymore and I tug too hard and then the cord doesn't stay at my knitting needle. Okay, it's really annoying. But this also is a very good exercise for me. I found a knitting needle and I can use do you see the frustration in my hands? Oh. I can fix this. That's what I learned. No panic. It's annoying, but it's not a disaster. So I put on the stitches. My camera doesn't focus on my knitting work anymore, but on my hair. I'm sorry for that, but I'm putting all the stitches on another knitting needle and then I fix it. I lost a stitch marker, so I have to count, and some stitches were dropped, so I have to pick up them in the right color so there's no mistake in the color work pattern. And this is how it always goes when I'm knitting. And that's absolutely okay. I don't mind anymore. But I think this is the main reason why the knitting cords are not really good for me. And maybe when you are a patient person, it will work out pretty good. And I definitely will try it with some DK yarn. Maybe it will work out better. But yeah, I don't know. I have traveled some more stitches to the barber cord and I fixed the mistake, and I'm a little bit more careful right now because I really want to try it on. I'm really curious if I choose the right side. I'm quite sure I did, but I really want to be 100% sure. And yeah, it's of course, because it's bottom up, it's absolutely not on a good fit point. There are no shoulders. It's a bit of a weird look this way, but I am really happy because it is the perfect fit. It will be sticked, so it is not too tight. It's also not too loose. The sleeves are good. I'm really happy. I'm really happy with the color combination. There will be a lot more brown. The dark brown is the main color because the ribbing at the bottom, there will be quite some ribbing at the hem and at the sleeves. And that will be quite a big part, but I used a provisional cast on because I was not sure if I found it long enough, and maybe I want to add a few rows of the color work pattern. But I'm really happy and I can knit further. So yeah, put it off, Sarah. Take it easy, be patient. All those yarn ends, and there are also 2 colors attached, and this is way too much for me. But the cardigan survived, so no worries. It all worked out and I'm a happy person. And Jonna, thank you for the beautiful cord, and I will definitely try it again, but I'm not sure if I'm the right person for these kinds of tools. Okay, my cardigan is laying here. It's all back on track. The cord is out. The needles, it's back on the needles. It's ready for knitting, and I'm really happy that the fit was good, and now I only have a quite easy part to knit. There were some struggles when I attached the sleeves, and I want to place the raglan at the right point with the color work in balance, and that was quite a challenge for me, and I had to frog and rip out and do all the things. But now I'm back on track, and there is quite some easy part with rows that are getting smaller and smaller because of the decreases, and there has to be some short rows and whatever at the end. But for the coming days I can just knit and enjoy the intuitive color work with nothing difficult, and that's really nice. So I will do that, and I'm very looking forward to this cardigan. I still regret a little bit that I'm knitting with superwash yarn. I told about it before. It was my plan to use Jamieson's. I don't know which one I owned. Jamieson's Spindrift, I guess. And I definitely want to make... On Instagram this morning I saw a lovely cardigan. I don't know who made it. I don't know the designer, but I saved the message because I really love the color combination and the cardigan its own. I really am looking forward to a lot of color work this winter, I guess. Yeah, all over color work maybe. Yeah. But first, we will survive this hot summer week. I think I chatted enough with you today, so I want to wish you a very nice week with hopefully some knitting or crochet time and a lot of heart jumping moments. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you this Friday.